Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a little get ready with me. This is Maria if you have not been here before. If you like what you see today, please like and subscribe. That would be cool. I'm still going to be painting, so I just have kind of like a tank top on today. So I picked out some things to use. I've never done one of these videos before, so I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not well at doing makeup by any means necessary or like one to learn from. This is just when I do wear makeup what I would do. I don't have the greatest eyesight, so I do have to get really close for a lot of this stuff. So I was going to talk about my friend drama I was having. So as you guys know who watch my channel, I've been a nanny for a long time. And I was keeping this friend's kids for a while. And things were going okay for a while. And then all of a sudden she started showing up really late. Payment became a really big issue. This is the double wear makeup in a crew and double makeup in the shade 2N. She started showing up really late and just a lot of things weren't adding up. Like she would say she's on the way to the bank for my payment and then I wouldn't see her for 2 days. So it just, it became a really big issue. So I would catch her in some lies about some things. And, you know, she would apologize and say it's never going to happen again. Well, the last week I had kept the kids then. She said, you know, she had already owed me $200 from the week before. And normally, mind you, I charge $40 a day for a kid. I kept her 1- and 3-year-old for $200 a week because, you know, she's a friend of mine and I wanted to do her a favor. I will start by saying I have this issue. When you hear it, you're going to be like, oh, bless her heart. And I'm not trying to say it for gardening sympathy reasons at all. It's actually more of a detriment than anything else in my personality. Really, I am a people pleaser by nature. And you would think, oh, that's so sweet. It's not. It's something I have struggled with. Because I don't always want to say yes to people. It's just something I feel compelled to do, that I have to do for people in order for them to like me. And it just comes out of my mouth, regardless of what sacrifices I am making for it. I could be sacrificing time with my family or my own mental health or well-being. And I'm now getting to the point where I'm able to kind of say no. But it's been a really big issue for me in my life. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's been something that I struggled with. So I'd give her chance after chance, and I felt bad because I loved these kids. I still do, as if they're an extension of my own. Like I taught the little girl to potty train and all of this stuff. I really love this foundation, by the way. So, she already owed me $200. And it was payday. She said she's going to come pay me. She comes to the door and she says, so at that point she would have owed me $400 because for the week I just watched. She says, can I just give you $50? That's all I'm able to do. And I didn't understand it because her husband works at a very good job. She works at a very good job, telling me she made $21 an hour at the time. So I just didn't understand how you could not afford to pay me because they had like a non-expensive rent. I'm going to go in out for a little bit more coverage over here on my cheeks. And I had told her, I said, I'm going to talk to my husband because, you know, this affected my whole family. I wasn't just watching these children because I liked her a whole lot, and I did at the time. She came with a lot of issues. It was one of the friendships, like we did spend a lot of time together, but it was one of these friendships where I was putting way more into her than she would even ask about me. And I felt like I needed to help her to make sure she was always okay. And so much of our relationship just became about making sure she was okay. Because she always had this stuff going on. And I will say the stuff that she had going on is she's been having a very long-standing affair with this man. But she told me she was going to try to stay away from him. But I had talked to my husband that night. And I've been married for 14 years coming up on. So I don't condone affairs. Like, just leave your husband. And her husband, bless his heart, he comes home and takes care of their kids while she goes to do whatever. And he works very, very hard just to try to make her happy. I talked to my husband and he said, you know, enough is enough. We cannot keep doing this. Because she was just flat out lying to us. And I told her, I said, listen, I'm your friend. I'll help you through whatever. But you just have to be honest, you know. I don't want to be misled or lied to. So I had to call her and say, listen, I can't do this anymore. I can't watch your kids anymore. And she had stopped talking to me for a while after that. And then all of a sudden, about 6 weeks later, let's say 6 weeks to 2 months later, she had got in contact with me. She had this drama. She got in a big fight with her husband over the affair. I think he had found out that they were still seeing each other. She was supposed to have stopped seeing him. And I think something like they were in an argument and he didn't want her to leave, so she pulled out a gun. But the way she had made it sound to me when she had come to my house crying was that he was holding her hostage there, and come to find out, like, I had gone to court with her and all of these things, and come to find out it just wasn't the case at all. Well, after the fact, her husband had taken her back, and like, they were working on their marriage. And I said, listen, I am a defender of a marriage. I am, and I'm glad you guys are working this out. I pray that you stay away from this other man, because they weren't good for each other. Like, her and this other man was obsessed with each other. And the other man is married as well. So I said, I want you to be a part of my life. Like, I want us to be friends. And she's like, you know, Ray, you were my best friend I ever had. You supported me. You were there for me. And I was crying and she was crying. And I said, I don't want to turn away from you. Like, that's not what I want. I don't want to do that to anybody. So I was like emotionally invested in this. So she come back, but her and her husband weren't living back together yet. They were taking it slow. So she would stay half the week at my house when my husband's out of town, because he works out of town. We have a small house, so to accommodate her and the 2 babies, it was just easier if it was when Pete was out of town, because my daughter could share my bed and they took over my daughter's room. So that's what I'm saying when I made a lot of accommodations for her. And all I asked this girl to do was be honest with me. You don't have to tell me anything you don't want to divulge to me. Just don't lie to me, man. I don't like that. You know what I mean? To me, that's not cool. Like, I can walk through a lot of shit with you as a friend, and I will be there for you. I may not agree with you. I will tell you I don't agree with you, but I will maybe not support you is not the right word, but I will stand by you and help you through whatever it is you're going through and not judge you. So things started to get a little weird. It started out like, and it was a couple months, and she was paying me on time every week. Her husband was. But she stopped picking up the kids after a while. And then we stopped hanging out socially after a couple months too. And mind you, we were together all the time. Her and her husband had got an apartment maybe like 3 weeks before all this really went down, or a month before this all went down. And that's when I saw things kind of go way decline. She would show up at my house saying, you know, he just wants to hang out with me all the time. I'm like, well, you guys just lived apart for 3 months. Like, I'm like, okay, so maybe there's some smothering issues or whatever. So I'd let her come over and vent, and we'd talk about it. She would say, you know, oh, when I'm outside smoking, because he doesn't smoke. he wants to come out there and sit with me. I'm thinking in my head, if you just had a long-standing affair for 6 years and you're just coming out of it, I think I'm going to be a little bit paranoid as well. I'm not doing any makeup. I'm just talking. Sorry. I'm going to use the Huda bronzer. So I started to get a little suspicious, but she told me she was on a straight and narrow, like, honest track. She was done lying to people because that part of her life was over. And, you know, she just wasn't doing that anymore. So she was being brutally honest with all of the people in her life, to even almost to a detriment to herself, she says. This is what I was told. I'm like, okay. So a week before everything had happened, I started to get a little suspicious because I was watching the little girl and she told me she went to Dada's house. Now, we suspect that her 2 youngest children, the 1 and 3-year-old, are by the man she's been having an affair with. There's been no DNA test done. And I suspect that is because the other man will stop coming around if there is. She said, Auntie Riri, I went to Dada's house. And I'm like, oh, you did? So I had called Cassie then. And I said, you know, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say her name. Crap, I was saying just girl. Unforget that, or forget that. I had called her and I said, you know, she says she went to Dada's house. She's like, oh, she says that all the time. I haven't seen him. I haven't talked to him. You know, I'm trying to get my family back together. I'm like, okay. I just wanted to see what was going on with all that. She's, you know, sometimes she just brings up his name. I don't know why. It drives my husband crazy, she says. So I let that go. I'm like, that's a little bit strange, but I let it go. I let it go. And then a week before everything had happened, she came over saying, I'm not talking to Derek, but Casey kind of smothering me right now, or always wanting to spend this time with me or talk to me on the phone or whatever. Y'all are married, dude. And you work a lot, both of them did. You should want to spend some time with your husband sometimes. I don't know. Maybe that's just me in my marriage. I'm sorry. This is the Space Case blush that I had got in my Ipsy bag. So that was a week before everything had happened. I always do blush on my eyelids. I don't know why. So I was starting to get a little suspicious because she had started the conversation with, I don't talk to him, but. So that was that. And then fast forward a week. Mind you, she's not picking up the kids anymore. Her husband is picking them up. Our communication had dwindled a lot. So I was calling and just checking on her. Hey, how are you doing? How is work? And she'd be like, oh, okay. She would, you know, work was good. I'm just tired. She would text me on what I thought was her breaks and say, oh, hey, how are the kids? It's my lunch break or my 15 or whatever. So at the week, my sister had told me, well, it was Sunday, and we were all supposed to meet at the pumpkin patch. My family, her family, the kids. I should have done this before I put blush on. I don't know. I told y'all I'm not good at makeup. I just wing it. We're all supposed to meet at the pumpkin patch. And I couldn't get a hold of her on her phone. So I'm like, cool, I'll just call her husband's phone. Because I had his number. And he had said to me, he's like, well, this is when it all started to ravel and go downhill. He says, what are you talking about? Where's Cassie? She stayed the night at your house. I'm like, no, she didn't. I said she came over for an hour the night before and said she just needed girl time and that she had missed me, and I had like braided her hair and we had just talked. And then she had said, you know, her husband had texted her. She was going to go home and be with him and the babies. I'm like, okay. So that was, she was ready for the pumpkin patch. Okay. Well, after I got off the phone with him, I talked to my sister, and she works at a convenience store. And she's like, you're not going to believe what I just saw last night. And they were all coming over to watch football anyways, like on their way. She said that her and her boyfriend were in there the night before, no lie, the night before, when she left my house from girl time. She had gone to her boyfriend's house and stayed the night with him. She went in the convenience store and they were all over each other, canoodling or whatever, in front of my sister, like I somehow was not going to find out about this, and then used me as an alibi. So first I felt used that she even came over for girl time, because I'm like, you literally only came over so you could tell your husband that you were here, that you could have a legitimate place to say that you went to. When I called her and I said, oh, hey, so I was upset because she had flat out told my sister that her and this person were sleeping together, that they were going to spend the night together. And she wouldn't answer my phone calls for us to meet together and all of these things. So she finally answered the phone and she's like, do you know, I'm just tired. I'm not going to go. And I said, where did you go last night? Mind you, after I had talked to her husband, I had already found out the answer to that. I said, I talked to Casey and he thought that you had said you stayed the night there. She's like, oh no, you know what? Him and I won't want to go home. I was feeling smothered. I slept in the parking lot, she says. I said, you slept in the parking lot? She's like, yeah, I wouldn't want to go home, so I slept in the grocery parking lot. I'm like, first of all, the police would, you know, patrol parking lots and send you on your way. And I said, you know, I'm going to be honest, that hurts my feelings. Like, that just hurts my heart that you would so freely make up a story and lie to me. She's like, well, what do you mean? I said, I know you were with him last night. And then I told her, I said, I feel used that you would even come over and pretend that we were having this good time and hanging out, and it was all just this ruse. And she started to cry. She's like, I didn't want you to be disappointed in me, that they had been seeing each other for like a month, she was telling me. And I was just so thrown back. I'm like, why, man? Because last time she was with this man, she did take a couple months break when her and her husband were working things out and they were staying at separate houses. She started dating her husband, which I thought was sweet and you know, old-fashioned, that they were just kind of dating and getting to know each other and spending time together. And I said, when you were with this other man, like, it messed with your family. You weren't seeing your children. Your family had issues with you. Like, this man was mentally unstable. He is on drugs. He still does drugs. He's married, like, estranged from his wife now because of all of this, and then started doing all these other kind of extracurricular things. I'm still talking and not doing makeup. Sorry. I'm just going to use this collab palette to put powder on my face. So I said, why would you get yourself involved? Because when she was, a couple months before that, she was so depressed. She was going to therapy all the time. And I really don't even think that they're in love with each other or we're in love with each other. They were just obsessed with each other. Like, they couldn't stay away, even if they wanted to. And I'm sure she wanted to, because it was causing so much grief, and she was just lying to so many people. Like, I found out so many things that she lied to me about. Because at first she had told me that the oldest child, 100% DNA test was done, and found out it was never even applied for or done or anything. And she's like, oh, she's 100% his, da-da-da. It was like all of this drama. And I have high anxiety naturally. I am an anxiety person. That's why I would never, before today, do one of these videos. Because I'm like, you know, I'm not great at makeup. I don't have the best skin, so I feel like I'm going to be judged for my PCOS. And I talk a lot, and I use my hands and my eyes. And I never watch my videos back because I freak myself out. So I was just internalizing all of these things when she was coming over with all of these issues. I was taking in her stress. The things that she was telling me that I thought were true, I was taking them in, trying to help her. And when I failed in times that I couldn't help her or I saw her struggle, I felt like I was failing as a person, as a human, as her friend. Now I feel as if we were never friends, or as if I was only a friend to her. Because, you know, that, it goes both ways. I can't give you 100 if you can't even give me 50% back. Like, I give so much to other people, and then I get hurt when it doesn't come back. Like, when I get lied to or find out that it was, you know, disingenuous. And I need to realize that not everybody is that same way. Not everybody wired it like that. So it's not, and I think she's not wired like that with anybody. So it's not personal. Or maybe it is. Like, I don't know. So we were all at the house watching football. Go Pats. My sister, because she'd come over. And her husband was there. Like, now it's her husband. She tells him everything. And I wasn't going to say anything to her, this woman's husband, because he came over to pick up something she had left at my house that night. So he come over to pick it up. And she had made sure she was on the phone with him the whole time, because she knew that me and my sister knew what she was doing. I wasn't going to say anything to her husband, because I watch her 2 children. That was my revenue. I love these 2 children. I wanted to keep seeing them. I was their Aunt Riri. So I wasn't going to say anything. And I told her husband I wasn't going to say anything. My sister's husband, rather. Sorry. And he came in. He got what was left. And he went out to his truck. My sister's husband jumped up off the couch and said, "Man to man, this man needs to know." And he walked outside. And he told him XYZ. Because those 2 people are still living in that house. And the guy that she's messing with, she's not the only one. So, like, at that point, it's just a health and hygiene issue. I didn't ask him to say anything. My sister didn't ask him to say anything. He did it on his own accord. Fast forward 30 minutes later. The dude left. He went home. He confronted his wife about everything. She come to my house. Now, mind you, I have 5 kids in the house. I have my 2 and my sister's 3 were there. It's our Sunday. We're having Sunday dinner. Football. She came to my house. Came in, cussing, screaming. My son was sitting right there. I had to have him leave the room. My husband had to tell her if she didn't leave, he was going to call the police. And I had asked her, I said, "What did I do to you? Like, what? I called you out on your lie on the phone." I told her on the phone that I needed some space. Like, I felt hurt. I needed some space where we weren't talking for a little while so I can, like, regroup. Because when I put everything into a person, like, it takes me a while to get over that hurt. Like, and I know I need to be more guarded with myself and my heart and giving and what I give to other people. Because it's been a reoccurring problem. Like, I trust too easily. I forgive too easily. And I just end up hurt in this cycle. She came in trying to spread gossip with my family. Trying to, like, cause issues between my sister and I. Like, that's my family. You're not going to come in and cause a problem with me and my sister. Like, that's not going to work, man. She's just making up stories and causing drama. I'm just going to... Oh, I didn't tell you. I had used this Ulta Beauty Tinted Eye Primer, which I love this. It's super cheap and inexpensive, and it just works well for me. I just like the way it stays in the color. So she had flipped out. And at that point, I'm hurt, and I'm feeling petty. And she left. I found out the next day, because one of my sister's best friends lives right next to the dude's house that she's been seeing, that her car was there that night. Her car was there that afternoon while her husband was at work Monday morning. And her car was there Monday night. And then I had called her husband Monday night, and I had said, where do you think your wife is right now? And he says, she's at Walmart getting shampoo. I said, the Walmart in our town? And he says, yeah. I said, well, because her car's at his house right now. Well, how do you know? So the person who lived next door took a picture of her van in the driveway, and I texted it to him. And I said, this is where she is right now. So he drove out there. And he wouldn't get out of the car or nothing. He didn't want to, cause that big an issue. He just wanted her to know that he knew. So he was in his truck, because this is the South. Everybody's got a big old truck. And he just revved his engine outside this dude's door. And, she came out with some cockamamie story. He's like, oh, I knew you were going to follow me. I had your phone tracked. I can't trust you. I haven't seen him in months, blah, blah, blah. Because she was caught, and she was just saying whatever she could. And I found out she had seen him a couple more times, and he had confronted her and seen some letters saying that she wanted to marry this person. And what I don't understand is, why not just leave your husband? And I found out because this other man isn't even working. So she needed her husband, or isn't making a whole lot of money. One of the two. And her husband makes good money. So she needed her husband to pay for things for her. And then I found out also, because as time went on, things just kept coming to my attention, or people were telling me things, that the week before all that stuff had happened, when I was keeping her kids, she was dropping them off and just going, she'd already stopped working, and just going to this other person's house and pretending to tell me how her day was at work, and pretending to tell me about the people at work, and pretending to call me from her break. And I was just like, why? Like, why do all that? It's so unnecessary. Because I was her friend, you know what I mean? Like, I would have been there for her. I wouldn't have agreed with what she had done, but I would have been there for her. And as angry as I was, and mad as I was, I think the anger has passed. I'm hurt. And I miss the babies. And the whole situation is crazy. It's like Dr. Phil, Jerry Springer crazy. I've never experienced something like that in my life, because it's just, I don't typically have that kind of drama around me. And it's so odd because I miss her. And I know I don't want to put myself back in that situation. I was having panic attacks and all these things, taking on these problems that she had. I'm going to use this Meech and Mia little orange peachy sparkly eyeshadow. I've never used it before. It's a list pigment, so it's going to be new to me. I was having so much anxiety from everything. And my husband just said, it's enough. Just cut off contact. And I'm not saying he's telling me what to do, but he was probably right in that aspect. Well, I should probably do my eyeliner first. It's difficult for me because I think a lot of it is not me missing her drama per se. I am a helper. I am somebody who wants to help people, to support people. I think I was put on here to be a caregiver to people, to children, to friends, to whatever. And not having that role anymore, because my is weird, because I spend so much time and effort and energy being a friend, like caregiver to her. Does that make sense? Like, and I have to tell myself, because she never asked me like, oh, hey Marie, how was your day? How are you and Peter? How are you and the kids? It was always, she would just come over and vent about all of her stuff, and I would walk her through it. I would help her through it. I would give her a place to stay and time to herself when she needed time to herself. I'm learning that it's okay for me to take care of me, to be a caregiver to myself, that it is just as important as taking care of the people around me, my husband, my family, my children, my friendships. that I sometimes need to take precedent. I'm not saying that I'm going to be self-absorbed in the way that I do things. I'm not going to change my heart or the way that I have always been. But I'm just going to make sure that when I'm in friendships or relationships or family ships, whatever the case may be, that I am also being made a priority, that my mental health is not being put at jeopardy. So I no longer speak to this person. I know you're not supposed to stretch your eyelids. And I've tried to do it the other way, and I just can't figure out how to do it. Like I said, I'm not great at makeup. So I just roll with it. And it's just getting worse as I go. Well, whatever. I'm gonna put eyeshadow over it. So I'm still hurt by it. I still think about it a lot. Because there was somebody who was intimately a part of my life. She knew me intimately, not like in a weird sense. You know, I confide in her. I treated her as a sister. So it's bizarre to me that even though I'm emotionally trying to block that out right now, that she wouldn't be like, oh God, that's terrible. See, look at what happens when I don't stretch it. It's just even more worse, like even worse. She wouldn't call me and apologize for, like, everything. That's horrible, Riri. It was just, the whole situation was a mess, and I felt hurt. I felt used. I felt disrespected. I think it's left me guarded, which I've never been guarded in my friendships or relationships before, which maybe was a problem. I maybe need to be a little bit more guarded with the people I entrust in my life. I will say I have great family relationships, so that is not an issue. I'm only going to use one eyeshadow color because, well, that's it.